Thank you for joining us today, and we are excited to introduce to you our featured author, Elizabeth Clamon. She is part of the book Voices of the 21st Century Women Who Influence, Inspire, and Make a Difference. This book serves as an opportunity for women from around the world to come together to share their voice, to share their truth. This book really is a conversation starter. It stirs the pot and challenges the status quo by, breaking some new ground. It's done by one woman simply sharing her truth, to be vulnerable and transparent. And I know this takes tremendous courage, which is why, as more of us rise up to step into our voices, to educate, to guide, and inspire, we must support one another by both sharing and listening. So diving in just a little bit deeper, we'd really like to get to know you, Elizabeth, and want to thank you for joining us today. Want to know what motivated you or inspired you to share your story in this book?
I just thought the whole concept of the book was so amazing. Just that so many women could come together and tell our stories, and we come from such different, diverse backgrounds, and yet we all are. When we started meeting for these calls and stuff, it was amazing how similar our hearts were and how similar our voices were and how much that we really did have in common and we really could share. So I really wanted to be a part of something bigger than myself. I have my own book coming out, but I wanted to be able to give a snapshot, and I wanted to be able to participate and work with other women and to network and to have all of our voices out there and share all of our stories. So it was really part of, for me, being part of a collaboration, part of something bigger than myself and something bigger than my own story.
Well, and I've read your story, and you share a powerful story. What I'd love to know is if we could go a little bit, give our listeners a little bit more flavor to your story and what you would expect the reader to get out of it.
My story it's simply that. It's my story. I named it Relentless because I consider myself to be relentless. I have to be relentless to have continued to get back up every time I've been knocked down. And I know so many people out there face adversity every day, whether it's chronic illness, whether it's family disputes, divorce, a sick child, losing a child, all kinds of adversities that come against us that we really don't have any control over. And then when they come up against us, and knock us down, we have to make a choice. And we can either make a choice to be better or to be bitter. And I want to encourage women with my story that you have the power, you have the choice to get back up. You have the choice to not only live out your life and live out whatever your purpose is, but to change the lives of other women. And by telling your story, hopefully you can give another person the courage and the strength to say, if she could do that, if she could overcome that, if she could come through that, then I can too. And I can get up and I can make a difference. And I can choose to let this terrible thing that happened to me make me better instead of making me angry and bitter. And so that's really, what I wanted to share about my story. And I tried to encapsulate, even though it's such a short chapter, I tried to encapsulate the highlights of my story and what my story entails, from having a traumatic childhood and dealing with adverse childhood traumas and having overcome those, and then having married very young, fortunately, to the right guy that I'm still married to today after 33 years, which when people read this, they'll see that we married after only dating for 4 months, which is kind of amazing. But, and then just having all of that from my childhood come back, having to work through that, and then getting through that, and then having a car accident that knocked me down. And just, it just seems like, I don't know, sometimes when you're in that position, you feel like, why me? This always happens to me. Why does so many things happen to me? And I want people to know it's not just them. Bad things happen to everybody. And you have a choice, and you can make a choice. And you have to make a mindset shift. And that's the point that I came to every time, of shifting my mindset and deciding I'm not going to live like this. I'm going to get up, and I'm going to make this world a better place. And I'm going to share what I've been through to help others. So that's really, that encapsulates a little of my story without giving the whole thing away.
And I know probably some people are listening right now going, that's me. They could be in very tough situations, a lot of negative and hardships, traumas coming at them, and maybe even feeling like it's impossible to get out of. And by you sharing this, you have your story. I mean, I just love that your attitude and your consciousness to having that mind shift to get through it, that where you said it can either take me down or I can rise up. And the fact that you've risen up and decided to share it, you are making a difference for sure.
And that's my goal. That's what I want to do. Is I just really desire to make a difference in other people's lives, and especially other women's lives. And I know so many women who have come up against things that I haven't come up against, and I wonder how they rise up. And then when people hear my story, they wonder how I rose up. And then I know so many that don't rise up. They just choose to stay where they are. And I just want them to know you don't have to make that choice to stay in that place. You can rise up, and you can be better, and you can do better. You just have to make up your mind, and you have to make a choice, and then you have to make some changes.
Oh, you're wonderful. So thank you, Elizabeth, for being our guest today and for sharing your truths and, for having the courage to step into it and really put yourself out there. So before we sign off, is there any words of wisdom that you would like to share with that one woman out there listening today?
I guess maybe the truth, the core of what wisdom I want to share, and this is what I try to bring through in my story, is that regardless of what adversity you come up against, and sometimes that adversity can be another person, it can be someone in your life, and they can try to keep you down, and they can try to hold you down, and try to tell you who you are and who you're supposed to be. And you don't have to be that, and you don't have to succumb to that. You can you can rise up, and you can stand up for yourself. You can make your voice known, and you can be that person that breaks the chain and says, this is not going to be this way anymore. I'm going to be the difference maker. So go out and be the difference maker. Be relentless. Go out and pursue your dreams, your goals, your hope, your health, and be relentless about it. Don't stop until you get to where you want to go, to your finish line.
Don't stop. I love it and love you, Elizabeth. So thank you again. And to our listeners, I'd like to thank you for joining us today and invite for you to join us again next week to hear and learn more from other women sharing their voice. And remember, your message matters. To the world, you may be one person, but to one person, you may be the world. Thank you.